Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 219 at scavengerlife.com.
And this is welcome to your Trash Shelf Radio.
Trash Shelf podcast. It's not really radio, if you want to get technical about it.
We are definitely not radio people. And we hope right now that you're either it's photographing or listening or packing, or maybe you're driving in your car to a job you really don't like very much, and maybe we can be a little bit of a glimmer of hope that there might be another way.
A light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only if you dig yourself out of it like in a prison. And if you've chosen to sell on eBay as a job, then you found the right people, because that's what we do.
I hope you think we're the right people.
Yeah. We will definitely tell you the ups and downs, not always good news.
Yes.
But not as much bad news as another kind of life, I guess you could have.
Yes.
And, let's talk about it.
So we've moved apartments successfully in Amsterdam.
Right. So we have completed our second week in Amsterdam. We're kind of on our European vacation, and we have moved to a new apartment that we rented on Airbnb.
Yeah.
And it really is like night and day. The first one was, it was like younger people. Their stuff was everywhere. Kind of like, I don't want to say like a college dorm.
It was like a college dorm.
But it was fine. It was a great location, so no one's complaining.
Yeah, no, it was
great.
great.
Was cheap.
Yeah.
This place is a little more expensive, but it's like sparse and nice.
When we were talking to the people before they left, they said they just redid the house. Like it just got finished like 4 months ago.
Like I feel like I'm in an IKEA catalog.
Yeah.
In that's a good thing.
Right.
Really
it's clean.
Lots of room. Huge, beautiful couch.
It's incredible. Like we walked in and I was like, oh my God, it's really nice.
So it's nice.
So that's nice. It's very fancy.
You know what? There was a British commenter who talked on the blog, and he brought up a good point. He says like he gets interested in hearing our podcast,
right?
To hear about the eBay stuff, but also just to see how Americans see things. It's differently, you know. And we talk about taking this as vacation. He's like, you guys are freaking out about taking like a 3-week vacation. Where we come from, people take 4 to 6 week vacations that are that's
normal. Everybody does that.
In Europe, everyone does that, where the family goes and rents a house for a month. Right. And I think it's happening like it's August and September is when everyone
the big
does
time.
that.
Yeah, and it's funny because like, if you work in an office, you get max 2 weeks vacation. And you can't take it all at once.
That's in America.
Yeah, in the US. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and like, they'll make you feel bad if you have to take a sick day. Right. You're like, I'm sick. They're like, what? What do you mean? I mean, these are reasons why we had to get out.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I guess, it's been in my voice a bit. I feel guilty almost.
Yeah. Telling people
that we're on this trip, and even when we were back home and people are asking us where we were going
and for how long,
I feel a little bit like embarrassed. Like it's just like I said it before. It's like an embarrassment of riches. It's just so. It's like I'm like, are we?
It's like too luxurious.
Are we allowed to do this?
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't matter. This is the life we've chosen. We've worked for it, and it's good. And I will say, just like that English guy that was commenting about this, is that, it takes, just in that first week, I'm just kind of barely like unstressing. And then the second week, I'm like, wow, this is good. Okay. Yeah. It's like I'm at level. And then I'm like, we have a third week of this?
Yeah, that was weird.
And it's nice.
Well, what's funny is, like, by the second week, for us anyway, I'm looking at real estate. I'm like, so what's for sale in this neighborhood? Granted, it's way too expensive.
Yeah.
But, you start imagining your life in a place, you start to, we've been here several times. This is like the 4th or 5th time we've been to Amsterdam. So we have places we like to go. We have neighborhoods we like. We have parks that we like. But, you start to feel like you like when you're walking around the city, you're like, oh, we found our way home without looking at the map.
Well,
You start feeling at home.
Right. It's just that we've been away for so long and kind of out of our daily routine. You're allowed to start imagining,
Sure,
like what a different life would be like, and that's the thing. And I was thinking about it. It's like that's kind of a luxury of ideas.
right.
We're like able to take these long walks, and and that it's pretty important.
Yeah.
To us in what we do, that we have time to really talk about a lot of ideas and revisit them and kind of, tie them together to other things we talked about, because, a lot of this stuff is how we want to live our life, things we
Right.
want to do, ways we want to spend our money.
Well, and also like a lot of the things that we've done, like start an eBay business and whatever, those things have happened when we had like space and time to like think about it. Not like we have months to do nothing, but we're like, let's take a walk and talk about it. Let's,
Right.
be on a, mini vacation and have like brain space to think about it. Because I feel like a lot of times when you're at home and you're dealing with your business and dealing with several businesses and, whatever you're dealing with that's right in front of you, you don't have that luxury of time to just have, idea time.
And, and I love that, we have the freedom to actually make these plans, because we've been talking about some things that I think we're going to do over the next, in 2016.
Yeah.
We've been kind of talking about that we can make these plans and we can implement them.
Right.
And we can do it with our own money, where we take all the risk and then we'll make all the profit.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And, and I've never had a job that let me do stuff like that, where
Yes.
I felt empowered enough to be able to do that.
Right. Like you can have an idea, try it, see how it works, and go from there. Just do it,
I mean, like, it's this week we're hanging out. It's with some friends of ours. Like, it's Mark and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And we were riding bikes in Amsterdam.
Oh my God, I had the most fun.
And we went to this, like, there's a forest kind of on the edge of town, and there's like a goat farm right in the middle of it.
It's bigger. It's 3 times bigger than Central Park. It's this huge park outside of the city. And I was just like, this is the coolest place I've been to in a long time. Right. It was so fun.
Huge goats, hundreds of goats, and there's like all these parents with their kids just hanging out during the day, and
you get
it's free,
goat milk ice cream.
Right.
Oh my
and
God.
they probably make its money because
with the food and stuff. Yeah.
But it was, I remember that we were riding our bikes, and it's a Wednesday afternoon in the afternoon, and I was just thinking, like, what a life this is.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, that I can do this. And and I was thinking, like, what I want to do between now and when I'm like 70.
Yeah.
Or 80. And I'm just like, this is the kind of thing I want to do,
Right. To have these experiences. And, well, what was cool, too, was, experiencing this, like, free, goat farm, animal farm that little kids can come to. Like, we live in an agricultural area in the States. And we were like, this would be so popular in our area. Like, a little, like, goat farm that has little products and kids can come. And, like, again, we're just like having all these ideas. Oh, that'd be so cool. People would totally come to that. Not for us, we're not farmers, but we would love to see something like that in our area. And who can we talk to like make those things happen? So it's like you're always kind of thinking of these like ideas that might, evolve where you live by seeing the inspiration in another place, by visiting other places.
But I think that's a good example of what I was thinking of is, I think the kind of like the road we're on is we've chosen to move to this small town.
Yeah.
And we've seemed to have chosen like this is where we're going to make our place.
Right.
Like this is where we are, you
Yeah.
know? It's not like, did you hear some people, they get a job in a city somewhere and they work for 20 or 30 years, then they retire, and then they buy a house in kind of a pre-planned retirement community somewhere else, and they go there and they don't really know anyone, and then that's the thing.
Right.
And they kind of like start this whole new life. Whereas I think what's important and exciting to me is that we've chosen to be in this place, and we're just going to invest our time and our money and our energy in this community.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're already doing that. We've been there since 2008, and you know, it's taken a while because there has to be a reason to get to know people. But you know, we can walk in the middle of our downtown, and we can probably know half the
most people. Yeah. Half. Yeah.
Where we can say hi to people.
Like we drove down the street in the middle of a Wednesday before we left. It was at lunchtime, and I'm like, I waved to like 10 people. I'm like, hey. I'm like, it's so funny. I mean, our town has 5,000 people in it. That's very small.
Right.
You know, our entire county is 20,000 people.
But, you know, I like the idea of, you know, we can take our money, we can invest it in our town, and we can, you know, get involved in local events. We attend community meetings a lot. I know both of us do.
Yeah.
We've been joining these local boards.
Yep. Well, and what's cool, and
what's
something we found coming from cities. I grew up in a suburb, but I also like half grew up in the city. You were in New York for a long time, then we were in San Francisco. You feel like you can make things happen. I did feel like I can make things happen, but I didn't think you could make things happen so quickly, or so like the ripples didn't affect things so fast. I remember when we moved to our small town and we would write a letter to the editor, and it was like, boom, everybody saw it. The next day, people were like, whoa. You know, and you're like, what? I just wrote a paragraph to the editor, and it was like the biggest deal, you know, for that week, for that month, you know. Actually, there's some letters that we wrote to the editor back then that people still talk about, that people still know you because of those letters.
Sure.
Where else can that happen? You know, it doesn't happen in New York unless you're a bigwig. Yeah. So to think that you can affect change quickly and like efficiently in places, sometimes it's efficient, sometimes it's not, is kind of amazing. You know, that there are still places like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, these places only exist because people choose to invest their time in
their money
instead of you know what you see as a brain drain, where you know we also do see this in this small town where the young people can't find work. Yeah. So as soon as they graduate high school, they leave. I mean, I'm on one community board where we're actually talking about that. How do we keep young people there? Yeah. And they look to me like I'm the young person. I'm 42. Because people around me are like over 50 very often, you know, and 60 and older. And I'm just like, well, it's like computers, you know, you have to, you know, what worked for you in the 60s is not going to work for them now in 2015.
Right.
And so,
exactly.
But then that doesn't solve anything. But
yeah, sure.
But, you know, this is a podcast about eBay. And so to kind of bring it all back to selling, all these things we're talking about, us riding bikes through a park in Amsterdam brings up these ideas of what we want to do with our life, and it is about, you know, realizing that we can't go wrong in our life. It's knowing and helping people, and selling on eBay allows us to do that because we can spend a lot of time doing that. You know, instead of at one job where you're putting all your time into it.
Well, it feels like you're not working for someone else. Like a lot of times we talk about how when we were working for other people, we were like making their ideas happen, making, you know, in television, you're making this set of producers' ideas happen. And for me, I was like, I have so many ideas and I have to make them happen, or I have to, and I did, you know, and I feel like that's consistent with, you know, having an eBay store, building businesses, doing real estate. You're like, I want to try this. Let's try it.
Exactly.
It gives you the freedom. I want to hang out in Europe for a month. Okay, it gives you the freedom to do that if that's what you want to do, you know? So,
it's good.
La-di-da.
Yeah, so that's been our week. It's been very philosophical, but again, for me, that's important. I kind of like to have a trajectory where I kind of know why I'm putting energy into something.
Sure.
And that was the big takeaway, was that we're putting all this energy into all these things we're doing, like eBay, like our rental business, and like this small town, because that's what's going to sustain us when I'm an old man.
Right.
When I'm 78 years old, I want to be able to walk down Main Street, know everybody, and have this huge history with all these people around me.
Right, that you've built.
And then, you know, it's like the riches will just pay off in spades because, you know, we've done all this work.
And then you die.
Yep. But then, you know, then the pain is over. The
pain of living.
The pain is gone.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, let's, if you're still with us.
After that,
you know.
Let's talk about eBay numbers.
Even though we're in Amsterdam, we are not smoking pot, I swear, but we talk like we are. Okay, so let's talk about the numbers of our store. So we have not been, you know, this was a really slow week. I'm going to do the numbers, and then we're going to talk about it.
Break it down.
Let me break it down first.
Yeah, let's go.
Flagship store. We sold 18 items.
Oh my God.
We made about $900.
Okay.
Average price was about $51, which is good.
Those numbers are a lot better than I thought they would be.
Right, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then we enlisted 23 items in that store. So we weren't just on vacation. We did
working.
do a little bit of work.
Yeah. Store
number 2, our smaller experimental store. That store has about 500 items in it now, so we've broken that barrier.
532 items.
We sold 4 items only.
Ooh.
We sold for about $192, so almost $200. Average price was about $48.
Because they were high-priced items.
And in that store, we enlisted about 35 items.
There you go.
So, like Ryan said, we actually did better than we thought, right?
Right.
Because almost the entire week, I mean, I thought we were going to come on this podcast and I was going to have to say we made $300. That's about what it was until yesterday or the day it's before. It was just dead slow.
Dead. I mean, did we go 2 days without selling something?
It felt like it.
It was like tail end of each day.
There was always one thing selling, but oh man.
We were just like, what?
Yeah.
Now, we did forget that it was Labor Day weekend because overseas we're like, what day is it? Right. I don't know.
But then even during the week, our sales didn't pick up. I mean, but let's be clear though, that our handling time has been on since like mid-August.
Yeah, because
we've had this extended handling time of 10, 15, even 30 days, depending on what makes sense. And I think that's been affecting it.
Right.
But the good thing was, especially yesterday, for some reason we just started getting this torrent of sales.
Yeah.
And so we made over half of all of our sales in one day. And it felt like, whoa, we're back. Right. And even today, it's Saturday, so it's still not the end of the day. We still might make some more money for the week. We've been taking offers and making sales.
Yeah.
It's just good to remember not to get too emotional about it and to look at the number at the end of the week. I mean,
it's really good that we do the numbers, because if we didn't, I'd be like, everything's going right to hell.
Right.
Now, a couple things that we did do because things were dead slow. I did change our handling time because we have less handling time now.
Right. Real quick. So eBay has a thing where you can do 30-day handling, 20-day, 15,
10,
and 5.
And then 5 down to 1.
So we have on our calendar when those days are, and then you go through and bulk edit each day.
Edit. Yeah. When it gets down to 20, when it gets down to 15, yesterday it got down to 10 business days, so I changed it. But we started getting sales before I changed our handling time. And that morning we had done a 10% sale on everything. We were like, let's just do something.
I mean,
I know it sounds crazy, but we were like, we got to do something.
We talk about it that we don't do sales. We don't really believe in them. But I don't know. We put it on and we started making some sales. So who knows?
We made like $300 in like 2 hours. Right. I was like, okay. I mean, and then it slowed down. But So those were the two things we did that we were hoping kind of like boosted things a little bit. But when your handling time is 30 days,
Yeah.
I don't know, things are dead.
But you know what? That's one thing I like about our blog, though, is that we get a lot of different info. You know, I've seen people say it's been dead for their store too.
Yeah.
It's been totally dead. But then there are other people
Yeah.
that post and they're like, we've had our best week
Ever.
all year,
Yeah.
you know,
It's like,
and we're making thousands of dollars. I mean,
yeah.
so it's good to know that the experience is all over the place, and it can be because we're posting different things. I mean, it's different kind of items. It's all over the place.
I also just want to say this, and I want to emphasize this again. I hear a lot of times people are like, it's so dead, it's so slow. But you have to do the numbers at the end of the week. Was it really slow? Or did it just feel like there were no sales for one day and then all the sales stacked up at the end of the week? Like, really, really do the numbers and be
Right.
like, oh, I actually hit my goal this week. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I feel so much better.
Right.
You know, because I do see those things in the middle of the week when people are like, it's so slow. Okay, let's do the numbers at the end of the week. Really do it.
I mean, I will say, so we're going to end up, it's making about $1,000
Yeah.
it's this week. That's the money we need to make
Right,
the pair
that's
of
the
goods.
minimum.
Like, if that's what we make, everything's paid for, the bank is, held at the door, food is on the table, but that doesn't leave us with a lot of extra.
Yeah, there's no
money.
buffer.
And, really for the past maybe 5 weeks, that's been kind of our average, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500. And I have to remember, like, we are accustomed to, in like the holidays,
Yeah.
making like twice that,
$2,500.
yeah, $3,000.
So my thing is, once we get back and our handling time is one day and we're shipping within one day, I think that things are going to crank up.
I think what's interesting too is kind of the up and down of the business, which seems like it's going to happen all the time. It's like there's going to be no way to always make the same amount of money every week. Is that we've kind of gotten our budget to where we can easily handle it's making as much as we're accustomed to.
Right.
And then I'm going to be so joyous when we, make twice,
more
hopefully
money.
twice as much as we're making
Yeah.
now. It's going to feel just like a flood of money.
Like,
and,
yay.
we can like throw that at debt and
Yep.
other things we want
Yep.
to do.
So let's talk about what sold.
Okay.
So we sold a woman's wool coat for $120, so that's a good sign that coats are starting to sell.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the first. I mean, we even sold a couple of them, but those are always nice. It's wintertime, and those like cool wool coats that you can buy for
Vintage.
$5.
Yeah.
And sell them for over $100. Like that's like a money.
Yeah,
maker.
that's a gorgeous coat. And then we got an offer today for a leather members only men's jacket for $100, and we took that. And actually, that was from a buyer who bought a pair of pants for $50 from us last week. So we're trying to figure out combined shipping on a global shipping program, which is impossible. And then some more mini Tonka boots. We bought 5 pairs of mini Tonka boots last year at the Hallen flea market here in Amsterdam for €5 each. And these they're on sale. So they sold for $70. That's great.
And it's funny, we're going to that exact same flea market tomorrow, so it's kind
maybe
of like
we'll find some more.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool little.
We know the price we want to pay, €5 or less. Okay, so this fireman's helmet sold. This sold for $100, and I just found this at my local thrift store for almost no money, maybe $1, maybe less.
And it's not even like a vintage helmet. It's just like modern day fireman helmet.
I think it's actually a paramedic's helmet, something like that.
And it's Matt on our blog. He talked about he went to an auction and bought a bunch of fireman stuff and has been selling that stuff. I mean, I find fireman stuff and police stuff, all this stuff always sells. Belts, jackets,
whether it's
badges.
It's either for collectors who collect that stuff or guys who need that stuff for work.
I wonder, yeah, sure.
We sold another piece of Kimper.
No, Kimper. Or Quimper. that pottery where we talked about it. We bought a big box of it for like 25
bucks. It was 90 cents a piece.
And so we sold another piece for $110.
Yeah.
And, so we're making good money on that box. It's just slow. It's
slow.
It's just like a little pipeline, a Kimpea pipeline.
And it was slow to start. And we were like, oh, crap. Did we, make a mistake? I don't think we made a mistake, but $110 for one piece that cost me 90 cents?
Yeah.
You cannot beat that.
Right.
You can't.
So customer issues, because we've been away, we haven't really been shipping anything, so we can't really have any kind of customer issues. But we've had a couple more buyers who wanted a refund because the wait was too long.
Yeah,
I realized
that's happened.
That the handling time, which stinks. But really, I'm surprised that as many
Most
people don't care.
Most people wait. It's amazing.
Like out of 10 people, we'll have one person say, I want its money back. We'll have 2 people write back and say, it's no problem. And then the other people just don't say anything.
Yeah.
They bought it and then they just forget about
whatever,
it. And then,
they don't care.
Yeah.
So we got a neutral feedback on our second store.
Right. Clean store feedback-wise is now dirtied up with a neutral feedback.
Now, I will obviously call to try to get it removed, but I don't think I can. But
yeah, I mean, it's
what can you do?
It's really it's woman just was like, and I can remember her too.
Yep.
She bought like a tea cozy, and she wrote and said, there's a spot on it that you didn't talk about, and we have a return policy, and she can return it if she doesn't want it. I think she was trying to
fish for like
money. A discount, and we just didn't want to give her a discount. She could return it, and she just decided to leave a neutral feedback. So.
I mean, I can just, again, try to call. The good thing is in the future, starting in February, as we found out with the fall seller update, I won't get a defect for that in the future.
Because she didn't open up a case. I mean, she's not asking for anything. She was just kind of hinting at something.
Yeah.
So until she actually takes an action, eBay won't think of it as a defect.
Yeah. So what we did this past week, Jay got a cold. And thank God I didn't get it. I thought I was going to get it. One night you just started
I was pretty
sneezing
sick for a
over
couple
and
of days.
over. Yeah,
I was sick last year too here in Amsterdam. I don't know why, but
I'm not sure. But it's very rare for you to get sick ever. So you were kind of just low energy, but you got through it pretty fast.
Yeah, it's just
you slept it off.
Yeah, I mean it's great. We're just not doing anything, so it was a perfect time to get it.
Yeah,
we found more clothes and shoes on the street. Just people package it in bags like clean clothes and put it by their garbage
because they want people to take it. And it's so funny when we find it. I'm like, we're the people that were meant to find this. So I actually listed some shoes and some clothes on Marktplatz, which is Marketplace. It's actually owned by eBay.
Yep.
And I was listing on it and I was like, oh my God, this is owned by eBay. That makes total sense. They acquired it in 2005. So basically it's a combination between Craigslist and eBay. You can ship things and you can get paid through PayPal, or you can just say local pickup like Craigslist. Right. I just did local pickup because I was like, I don't want to mess with Dutch Post.
And we haven't sold anything on there, but we just did it as an experiment. And we've actually had several Dutch people email us, people that hear the podcast, and they've been giving us kind of some advice about, and they're like, oh, Dutch people won't pay a lot on Marktplaats. They want really big discounts.
Like Craigslist. Craigslist people are like, I'm not paying eBay prices on Craigslist. So I'm just going to bring this stuff home and sell it on eBay. But it was fun because I actually went through, translated the site through Chrome, and then I actually turned the translation off because I started to know what things meant. Ah. So that was kind of fun to just, try to do it in Dutch.
We also went to the next town over, to Harlem.
Harlem,
very close. It's
super close. It's 2 stops on the train.
I thought it was going to be in another. like far away.
And it was so funny. We get on the train, right? And 8 minutes later, we're there. You're like,
this is
that's it? This is like the same city. This is like going to Brooklyn. It's not even,
So, and then in this town, we went to a couple of thrift stores.
Yeah.
And actually, it's because one of our Dutch friends told us about there's a store that's just like...
It's like Goodwill.
Just like the Salvation Army.
Radaplan or something.
And it was cool. I mean, I thought they didn't have that kind of stuff here because we've only been to little tiny...
Like charity shops.
Loops,
Kringloop Winkle.
Kringloop Winkle.
You don't know what it's called.
Like these little tiny charity shops. But this was a nice size store.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
It was like it was like the size of a Goodwill.
Yeah, and prices are good. We bought a couple things. I saw things that if I lived here...
I would buy them.
I would have bought...
Like leather boots for €4. Yeah, but I don't want to haul those home. Like, it's not enough for me to haul it home.
Yeah, but I wonder if you could, the Dutch people who live here and hear this, like, will Dutch people or people in Europe buy, like, a pair of leather boots for $100 or $80?
And have them shipped.
Yeah, or have them shipped.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I don't know. But...
they will on eBay in the U.S.
So, it was fun to kind of learn about that. But, I remember it last year. I'm just amazed when I think about it, how much we brought home.
Oh my God.
We brought home 2 huge duffel bags and then our own bags shoved. I mean, we must have had 300 pounds of items.
We had so much.
We bought carpets, a dozen pair of shoes, like this painter's suitcase, this huge wooden suitcase. We bought doctor's bags, wool blankets. I mean,
so 2 huge wool blankets. 2 years in a row we did that. But part of it was we weren't going to our job after.
Right.
We were last year, but the job was in Amsterdam. So we just took the train to the hotel and then we, got an Uber to the airport. But now we're like going across Europe after and we're like, we really don't want to carry that much stuff.
I think too, I'm just trying to up our game, and we were talking about on the blog about finding, like, can you run a business just finding smaller items?
Yeah.
And, it's interesting. It is possible, but every kind of qualification that you put on at your scavenging makes it that much more difficult. So finding something small and light that's cheap
and valuable,
but sells for a lot of money. I mean, we've really only gotten 10 things, I think.
A small amount of things.
In like patches.
Well, I mean, the
trinkets,
second you say, I don't want to haul it home, your mind is like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'm not getting that. Put it back. I don't want to,
So we're going to check and see. And tomorrow will be the big test because we go to Hallen, the big flea market. And, we'll see, like, will we be able to stick to that and not bring home big, heavy things?
Yeah.
Okay, we aren't going to talk a lot about it, but we always like to. It's mentioned that the rental property, this farmhouse we have an Airbnb, has become a bigger and bigger part of our income.
Yes.
Something we depend on when eBay is slow. And the good news is we've been booked all week while we're gone.
Yay.
And our friend is taking care of it.
And if you want to hear more about the rental property, the juicy details, the meat of it, you can listen at shampooandbooze.com.
And if you don't care, you don't have to listen.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a lot for us to go into because it's basically our whole new business. So we like to really talk a lot about it. So you can listen to it over there.
Okay, we're going to do a lightning round of news because we don't want to bore ourselves or you. We put up an interview. It's with Faith, who is a scavenger in it's Manhattan, who is like one of these people that, has in a small apartment, works a full-time job, but she finds these amazing things that sell for a lot. One thing we talked about with her was these dudes in Brooklyn who in the 90s got into buying polo
Ralph Lauren
clothes.
Polo, and they call themselves low heads or low life.
Right. And we're going to post a video where it's kind of like a little short documentary of these guys. And it's just so funny seeing these guys, these like street hip hop guys with like teddy bear
sweatshirts on. It's so funny because you're like, yeah, they're tough. but they're like changing the face of that by wearing super bright colors and like, one of the logos for Polo is this like teddy bear with an American flag on it. It's like, that's cool,
So we love stuff like that.
Yeah.
The other big news was, eBay has their 20th anniversary. It's a fall seller update. So there's all this like new info that if you're a serious person on eBay, you should probably get to know that stuff. We're going to put some links in the blog about it. One thing I noticed that they're doing like this, it's price search. Where you can type in an item and it gives you not just what's sold, but gives you like more data.
More data. Yeah, it's interesting.
They're also going to do this a seller hub. It's not available yet, but it's going to, I guess, take the place of the Manager Pro.
Seller Manager Pro and the dashboard. Yeah.
So there's a wait list that you can get on. I guess they're trying to be like cool, like. On the wait list,
they're trying to be cool, and they're just trying to roll it out slower because they want only a few people to look at it and it not be totally broken.
And then there's something that we didn't quite understand. There's a way, or there will be a way to customize its returns. So I guess that you can put these policies based on categories. So if someone wants to return a piece of glass, this is my return policy for that. If someone wants to return some shoes, this is a return policy.
Okay, I didn't understand that. I was like, I don't get this. I feel like it's already like this, but it seems new. So I'll have to click through and look at that better, but we'll link to that too. Okay, so a listener named Jen sent us a pretty cool link about Jails to Jobs program.
She got interviewed by this nonprofit, and they help guys who are getting out of jail get jobs. Yeah. And they interviewed her because she's like, they should get an eBay business.
Yeah, that was great.
Which I think makes sense. Like, if you're having problems finding, good work because of maybe your past history in jail, eBay is kind of agnostic to that, so it's kind of be the perfect thing. I know. I thought that was a cool idea.
That was a cool link.
And then just some more news and kind of things we learned in the comment. Anna, our good friend Anna, who is our correspondent in San Francisco, is at the big, I guess, like it's
the birthday party, eBay birthday party.
And it's funny hearing her write on the blog about how they have all this really great food.
It was so funny. I started laughing out loud because she was describing everything she ate. It was so funny. I was like, I'm so jealous. The food sounds so good.
And I would be the exact same way where all this stuff is going on and I'd be like, I'm making I'm getting all this salmon and like
delicious
let's do
food.
This thing,
No, but really, like, I will say that the food really shows like how much they're investing in it, because if you have nice food, you spent money on it. They obviously had a very nice venue. Yeah. You could tell by the videos.
And we actually watched the keynote. I mean,
CEO
I felt very nerdy. We had our computer open and we're sitting on our couch. It's watching the new CEO of eBay give this keynote
at 7 a.m. What was happening?
And you know what? It felt heartfelt.
I was impressed.
I felt like there was an acknowledgement that eBay's been going through some struggles and an identity crisis.
Yeah.
And its relationship with sellers and the company and buyers have been confusing. And I think they really see that their strength is people.
Yes.
Sellers.
Yes.
And that they have to go back to the way it was. In a way, and so I don't know. We'll see. I heard all the right things. Now we just have to just see how it all plays out.
Right. Now, the difference is the new CEO is not that guy, John Donahoe, or whatever whatever his friggin' name
Bain
is.
Capital.
Now, it was interesting when you said that he was like a Bain Capital guy, because I'm like, that makes total sense. They took away all the in-person events. I mean, they still did those little things, but those were not the same as the conferences. Right. And the conferences are where people networked, where people met, and where people could interface with real eBay people. And the last time that happened was like 2011 or something, you know, so it really felt different. And like all the defect ratings came into effect. I'm like, yeah, it felt like a cold corporation for like the last however many years that guy was in charge. Like it really hit home when I saw this. I was like, oh my God, this is how, I mean, I don't know how it was with Meg Whitman. A lot of people would be like, Meg Whitman, but this is really, I know, but it was interesting to watch it where I was like, oh, this feels different.
It was just interesting because we don't really keep up with that kind of stuff.
Because, yeah, we're just running our business.
We keep up with our store. As long as we're making money in our store, like, I don't care. It's a big corporation. They're making money. They don't care about me. That's how I feel, you know.
Yeah.
That's a safe way for me to feel. But when I watch this guy talk, I felt a little bit of a connection. Like he felt
gets
like
it.
He understood what I was doing and why what I was doing is important. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, but we'll see again. Yes.
Okay, so our coming week will just be enjoying the week. We have some friends we're going to be hanging out with.
Yes.
We have a little bit of work we're going to be doing. And then we're getting ready for next week is when we get into work mode where the whole reason why we came here is going to be paying off.
Yeah.
We're going to do these like 12-hour days, you know,
big
in Barcelona,
where
the thing we've been trained for in school is, you know, that's what we're going to be doing.
Yep.
And we're good at it. And but it's going to be busy.
It's a lot of busy.
So let's enjoy this week.
Yes.
Have a little more philosophy.
A
little more.
The non-pot smoking philosophy.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel too, it's like, when we go back home, I'll be so ready to like implement some of these ideas we have and just kind of be reinvigorated and get into the winter time. And, I love it. I love winter.
I know, you're
the
crazy.
Wood stove. Oh, I love it.
You're crazy. Okay, let's listen to some voicemails. You can always call us, even when we're in Europe. We can still check the voicemail at 540-407-8486.
Hola, it is your baby trash elf, Heidi. I am just calling because I have a quick question. Let me start from the beginning. I just had a bunch of old iPhones sitting around, iPhone 3s, iPhone 4s, just from when we've upgraded, and they're just collecting dust. So I put one up on eBay today. It sold within like an hour. So the guy messaged me and asked me a few questions, and then I said, hey, I have all these other iPhones. And I said, here's, you know, which ones work, which ones don't work, you know, what they are, and would you be interested in buying them? And he said, sure, just give me a fair price and I'll buy them. So now that he wants to buy them, I don't have them listed yet, and I don't know what to do. So I'm going to figure it out, obviously, but I'm hoping that you can tell me what you would do in that situation. So, hope you guys are having fun in Amsterdam. Talk to you soon. Bye.
So, this is an interesting question. Really, I don't think there's a wrong way to do it. Well, there's always a wrong way to do it. But, you know, we're not the experts on that because we really try and stay away from selling this kind of stuff. But we will tell you our experience. When the iPhone was still relatively new, those first 5-8 years or so, we had a great time because we would buy our iPhone and then we would sell it like when it was still a valuable item. And we would actually get paid more on eBay for the cost of a new one.
Right.
And so for like 3 generations, we got a free, awesome phone.
Right.
And that was back when Apple, like, they didn't sell it overseas.
Yeah.
And
no one could get them in other countries.
It was only on AT&T, so people would buy it so they could jailbreak it.
Yeah.
You know, these days, like a 3G iPhone is
worth like $30 or less. Like, because I bought one to come to the Netherlands because you have to get it on a certain band. And I was like, okay, I got to make sure I have it on the right one. And I was like, oh, it's $30.
So it'll be interesting to hear what people in the comments say. But like when I read on a Reddit forum, there's a lot of people there that really deal with like video games and phones.
Yeah.
And it's like a big thing for them. And they're always talking about phones and scammers. And so my opinion is you can do 2 things. You can either post them on eBay and open its market and see who pays you the most. and hope that you don't get caught with some jokers.
Yeah.
Or if you feel like this is a good guy, then just sell the phones to him. You can make a custom listing just for him
to sell through eBay. So you can do that where you guys are both protected through eBay. You've made a custom listing. Here's, 4 phones. This is the price. You go through PayPal, whatever.
And when we say that, what you do is you just make the title, like, you can even call it custom iPhone, a listing for...
Don't even put iPhone in there because you don't want anyone else to find it.
So call it custom, a listing for XYZ guy.
Username. And be like, you need to buy these pronto because this is a public listing that anyone can find. The other thing you could do is you could do an invoice through PayPal and do it just through PayPal. Send him a professional invoice and then he would be protected on PayPal, and I believe you would be too, to a certain degree. Or if you don't want to deal with this guy at all, there's a website called Glide, Glyde, glide.com, and you can sell your phones on there. You tell what model it is, blah, 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 what condition it's in. The problem with that is they will give you the lowest price.
Well, the problem is, there's a million sites that
will buy your phone.
My thing is that if it's a super old phone, just get rid of it as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's not worth very much.
So anyway, we've thrown a lot of info at you, a lot of choices. So I'd love to hear what other people in the comments have to say about it.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Beth. I'm an avid listener of your show. I have a question for you, Ryan. I know you're a fan of vintage Pendleton. I went to a garage sale yesterday, and long story short, this older lady was selling her workwear collection, and I ended up with 13 pieces of vintage Pendleton clothing. They're all the 100% virgin wool, and I have tartan plaid. I have the red plaid. I have navy. All these pieces, they're in great shape. I bought them all for $17 for 13 pieces, and I got them home, and I'm looking them up. They're not going super high. It seems like they're going like $10 to $20 a piece, and I was thinking that might be because the styles are a bit dated. It's like suits and pantsuits and blazer type jackets, pencil skirts, that kind of thing. In your experience, would it be best, do you think, to piece these things out and list each piece individually, or keep the matching pieces together as a set? I'm almost thinking there's a consignment shop in town for higher end things that maybe I should take it there, just for a quicker turnaround, just because they're not going super high on eBay. But also I wanted to know, if I do list it, what do you do as far as vintage sizing? I know obviously I would put measurements in the listing, but as far as in the item specifics or in the title, do you put an equivalent size so that people can find it? Because when you search for like a suit piece, generally people search by, like, I'm an 8'10", not by medium large or something like that, or even these specifically are size 14, but it doesn't fit like a 14. It fits like a 8'10", and I just wanted to know, as far as people actually finding the listing in the first place, how you handle that with the sizing. Thanks so much. Bye.
Okay, I love Pendleton. I have sold Pendleton over the years. I used to buy those Pendleton suits, women's blazers with skirts or pants, suit. I do not get them anymore.
You know what?
Because they do not sell.
Ryan was obsessed, because you know why?
They're so cool.
They're such cool quality.
Yeah.
And they kind of have a cool look, but really, the look really isn't in.
Yeah.
It's that
It's
kind of
not.
frumpy secretary look.
Yeah, and some of the 70s kind of secretary look is cool, but whatever. Okay, so here's the deal. If you're going to sell them, you should sell them as separates, because nobody these days is going to fit into the skirt that the blazer fits. People are just all different sizes. So you sell them as separates. The thing about vintage sizing, yeah, it's weird, right? Because on a Pendleton from the 70s, it's like size 14. You're like, this is like a size 3. It's freaking tiny. The sizes have changed so much. I say you don't even show the vintage size. You just give them measurements. Because I don't know, like with a blazer or a skirt, you're like, I don't know what size this is. It's a 28-inch waist and a, 33-inch hips. What the hell size is that? I have no idea. I just list it with the best information I can so that people can, find it and look at the measurements. It's hard because you can't be like medium because it's not.
Yeah, and this is a good example of we would love to hear from other people in the comments because we really don't buy and sell skirts anymore.
Yeah, I can't.
Or even like blazers or women's blazers because we just didn't find that they sold very well.
Yeah.
And just the amount of work and trouble. So it's cool that you bought them. It's going to be a fun experiment.
And you will sell them.
Right.
But they're not hot, fast sellers.
Yeah.
I love Pendleton. I love the quality. I've sold Pendleton skirts and blazers just as fabric.
Yeah.
But
cutter fabric. But I bet if you were to lock them in like a vault and hold them for 20 years,
they'll be back in.
The style's going to come back and people are going to love to look like a 1970s frumpy secretary.
Yeah, exactly. The last phone call we got was actually about our rental business, about shampoo and booze, which is great. If people want to call about shampoo and booze on this phone number, I'll gladly play them on the other podcast. The last person that called, I don't know who they were. They're in North Carolina, but their cell phone was breaking up so much that I couldn't hear the question. So I would love whoever that was to call back and ask the question again, because I would love to play that on the other podcast. It was a mysterious person in North Carolina.
Cool. But that's going to be it for it's this week. Thanks for joining us. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com where you can see all the links we talk about. You can also join the conversation there.
You can call and leave a question or a comment on something you heard or something you read. The phone number again is 540-407-8486.
And we post an episode every Sunday night, Monday morning. The timing has been weird since we're 6 hours ahead of East Coast and like 9 hours ahead of people on the West Coast.
Totally weird.
And then Wednesdays, we normally post a what sold a video. We can't do that right now, so we've been doing interviews, and I think they've been fun. But this Wednesday, I was thinking we might actually do like a haul, a video where we'll show what we bought at the flea market tomorrow.
Hopefully we'll find cool stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
I hope we don't come out empty-handed because we don't want to haul anything home.
We'll see.
But we'll find out.
Yeah, but you can subscribe to us through iTunes or through YouTube. And that's it. We are glad you're with us, and we wish you luck in your life.
Okay. This is ending in 3, 2, 1. Bye.
Bye.